Alright, hey guys, so this video is to help you set up your equipment. I know that you probably got a set of user instructions included with your packet. If you were able to get your equipment put together using that, awesome. For those of you that are more visual, we'll go ahead and get you set up. Alright, so you should have got your equipment. You should have gotten, let's just do a quick inventory check. So you should have received 2 monitors, a ThinClient. Now some of you may have gotten an iGel, which looks a little bit different than this one, but we'll show that here in just a moment. Should have gotten a keyboard, should have gotten a phone, and you probably either got a bundle of cords or a bag of cords like this. We're gonna take everything out of here. So you got a mouse, got a couple of network cables here, power cord for your ThinClient, 2 power cords, 1 and 2 for each of the monitors, display cables, which is how this will show the visual on the screens. So you got 2 of those, a headset, and a phone power cord. Now some setups either comes with a power cord or a box that's called the PoE. I will show that setup as well, but we'll get through this one first. Okay, so first things first. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is you should have a router already installed in your home for any of this to work. So router usually comes from your network provider. Some familiar ones that are out there, Frontier, Spectrum, all those guys. It does not work with dial-up, so you do need to have a working hard connection in your home for this setup to work. Okay, so let's start out with the ThinClient, this guy right here. We're gonna go ahead and get it set up. So what I recommend is starting with the power cord. That's what this guy is here. We're gonna go ahead, there's a little insert there, fits right in there. So we're gonna get that powered up. Okay. I'll plug everything else in last. Okay. Let's go ahead and get your monitor situated. Okay. So like I said, you have a power cord for each of the monitors. So go ahead and do that. Okay. So it looks like this. There is a part at the bottom here that fits nicely into. Okay. All right. Same thing here. Second monitor. Go ahead and get that put in there. Okay. I like to keep them this way because there's a couple of more cords that we have to get put in there. So remember I showed you the display cables. They look kind of like HDMIs a little bit on the end, but they are display cords. So we'll unwind these. And the same thing here, you'll find at the bottom of the monitors, there's a little place that this fits into. So go ahead and plug that in there. Same thing here, plug it in there. All right, should be a nice snug fit. And on the other end, and at the back of the ThinClient, you have the same thing. You have where these can fit nicely into. I've got it upside down. So you can fit in there. Just one. And second one. I'll put that in there too. So we got 2 in the ThinClient. All right, so, all right, now that I have those in, I am going to rotate the monitors around. Okay. And this is not going to have any sort of feng shui going on, but once everything's connected, you can make it look good like you want to. Okay. All right. So the next thing we'll go to is the phone. Okay. If you turn the phone around, you'll notice there's a couple of ports. So you've got the first port, which looks like 3 monitors on top of each other. The second port looks like a little laptop. And then the third port, it's got AUX there, okay? And if you go to the far right, you have another port, which is where your headset will go, okay? It's kind of hard to see in the screen, but if you follow it along, you'll be able to see it on the back of the phone. All right? So as I mentioned, for some of you, you have a little white box that looks just like this. It actually has a phone power cord included. All right, you'll take it out the box. You'll fit that in there, power source, okay? And then this cord here, you can see that, that will go in the first bottom left-hand port of the phone, okay? Pop that right in there. That is what is going to give the phone power, okay? And then you'll go ahead and you'll plug that up. Now, what actually feeds the network into it, these 2 cables here. So we'll go ahead and get the network cables in. Like I mentioned, you want to make sure you have your router already ready to go at home, okay? So I got one of the network cables here at the back of the phone. That first port I made mention of, I'm going to pop that in there, okay? Now the other end of the network cable that is in the phone should go into your router, okay? So this guy over here, as I mentioned, you probably have one at home. You'll want to plug the other end of this one into that router, okay? All right, remember I said there was a second port behind the phone. And you want to plug that second Ethernet cord in that second port, okay? Oh, lost video there. All right, I think we're back. All right. You'll take the other end of that Ethernet cord, okay? And you will put it behind the ThinClient. All right. Now, once everything is plugged up, you've got one end in the router coming into the phone, and then another Ethernet going from the phone into the ThinClient. You should see the network access begin to connect, okay? At that point, the hard part is done. You got your keyboard, that's your regular USB. You have 2 USB ports behind the ThinClient. You plug you'll plug the keyboard into one of the USBs, and then you'll plug the mouse into the other, okay? And then I mentioned you have your headset. On the back of the phone, there's a little port that looks like the headset, looks just like that. You'll plug that in there, and that'll make your headset operable with the phone, okay? So that's the equipment setup itself, all right? I'll do another video on once everything is set up and it's reflecting on the screen, and then how to go ahead and get yourself logged into the phone, okay?